My buddy Scott used to charge $100 for guitar lessons, but after we worked together, he was able to close his first $1,000 student. How did he do it? Well, the crazy thing is that he actually didn't get any better at teaching, but what he did was instead of charging students up front, he had live consultations with him before they worked together. And on those consultations, he was able to position it in a way that really addressed the needs and concerns of his potential students. And once they were comfortable, then he was able to charge a much higher price. So in this video, I'm going to go over how to run a consultation successfully so that your potential students feel comfortable enough to buy at a higher price. So these consultations that you'll be having are going to follow a certain structure, a certain flow, a certain beginning, middle, and end. And I'm going to go over these different phases. So the first phase is introductions. This is pretty straightforward where you kind of just want to break the ice, ask about how they're doing, how their week is going, where they're from, just get them baseline comfortable. And then during these introductions, I also like to sort of introduce who you are and talk about what your authority is in the space, just so that they know that they're talking to somebody that's worth talking to. Then after that, then I would set the agenda and let them know that during the rest of the call, you're going to be talking about what problems they're having, what goals they're having, and then letting them know ahead of times that if you guys decide that you guys want to work together, you guys will be able to talk about that too, but there's no pressure to buy anything, and then ask their permission to get started. So then once you guys have finished that phase, then you guys move on to the next phase. This next phase is called discovery, and discovery has several different subsections within it. But the first part of this is that you want to figure out their goals. That's the first subset of the discovery phase. You want to ask them questions to figure out, what they're trying to achieve. Maybe they're trying to join a band. Maybe they just want to make covers. Maybe they want to just do this stuff for self-expression. Maybe they want to impress a girl. Who knows? Then you kind of also want to figure out at a deeper level why this is so important to them. And you'd be surprised at the answers that sometimes people will give you. So, for example, I've had people tell me that this is a way to overcome substance abuse, overcome alcoholism, where they needed a healthy alternative of dealing with their emotions as opposed to going to substances. So, and that's really important for you to know, not just from a personal level, but later on, I'll show you how to use this information just to position your offer in a much better way. Now, the second sort of like subset of discovery is that you then want to figure out what their problems are. You want to ask questions to figure out what techniques people are struggling with, maybe even mindset stuff. What beliefs do they have that they feel like is holding them back? And same thing, you also want to figure out how it's affecting their life. Some people feel like they truly can't be themselves unless they're doing music, and their inability to play guitar is holding them back because they feel like there's no way of getting out their emotions. So very, very powerful stuff. And then the third subset of the discovery phase is you want to figure out what solutions they've tried. Have they gone to other guitar or music coaches before? Have they bought video courses, or maybe they've just watched a bunch of YouTube tutorials? You want to figure out what they've tried, and you want to ask them questions about that to dig more. This way, later on, when you pitch your program, then you'll know how to pitch it in a way that doesn't make them feel like, oh, yeah, I've heard this same stuff before. So by the way, this is the end of the discovery phase. And this phase is all about just kind of like discovering where they're at and what they've tried and just sort of discovering more about them. Okay, so now let's talk about the next phase. Okay, so this next phase is where you give them value. And so you want to give them a roadmap of how to fix their problems at a high enough level so that they understand the vision and like the steps necessary to get to where they want to go. But there's an interesting sort of like balancing act with this, where if you overteach them and if you give them like almost like too much information, then oftentimes then that makes them feel like, oh, I got to do homework, and or that it makes them feel like, oh, okay, I know what to do. It's very simple. If they end up feeling like that, then they're less likely to understand that, look, there's like many places that people can go wrong, and they'll be less likely to buy your program. They'll be less likely to actually get the help that they need, which only you can offer. So that's why there's a certain sort of art to this, where you got to give them high level clarity of their problems and help them understand conceptually kind of what they need to do. But you don't want to go super nitty gritty, or rest they're going to feel like, oh man, I feel like I know what I got to do. Peace. So the other thing you got to do too is that you have to sell them on the mechanism of the type of coaching you're going to offer. Let me explain. So, let's say, for example, if somebody bought video courses, and your job is to first sell them on the idea that live coaching is better. And, maybe if they've done video courses before, you can ask them questions like, hey, okay, well, what problems did you have with video courses? Why are you talking to me now? And then maybe they'll say something like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I feel like I wasn't able to get a lot of my questions answered in the video lessons that came with the video course. And then you be able to respond to them with something like, oh, okay, well, do you think that if you had live coaching from a established, respectable instructor, that you'd be able to make quicker progress? They would respond, oh yeah, I think I would. That way I would get like more personalized, quicker feedback. And so you kind of want to, guide them to a place where they understand that the type of coaching that you will offer is going to be much better than the stuff that they've tried. That way, it makes the pitch of your program much easier, much simpler, because they've bought into the idea that the way that you offer your transformation, the mechanism of how you offer your transformation, is superior. So, okay, so after you've done that, then you want to formally pitch the program, and you want to talk about the transformation that they will get. Take the information that you gathered from the discovery phase of the call. Remember when we were asking them questions about their goals, about their problems, you want to kind of like present the program, and you want to weave in the benefits of the program and tie it into what their goals were. So for example, let's say if they wanted to join a band, then while you're pitching the program to them, you could say, oh yeah, and once I show you how to sweep pick or how to do this crazy technique, then that will make you far more attractive to bands looking for guitar players, because they'll know that you'll be able to play whatever they throw at you. And then, of course, you want to do the same thing with their problems. Let's say, for example, one of their problems was like, oh, yeah, I feel like I don't know how to read sheet music. Then you could say during the pitch of the program, like, yeah, well, on this program, I will show you how to read sheet music. This way, you can essentially learn whatever song that you want, and you can show up to whatever band rehearsal, and you can not have to worry about having to be a drag, because you could just learn from their sheet music or their tablature. This is why the discovery phase from earlier was so important. It comes full circle, and you want to kind of do this in a very tasteful way. And this way they feel like the program really speaks to them, and it will really address their concerns and help them get to the goals that they're trying to achieve. And then after that, once you've done that, then you ask for the sale. Then ideally, if they say yes, then you just close them right away, and you can kind of like take their payment while you're on the call with them. If they have any objections, then that'll come out. And you might have to sort of handle those, and you might have to answer those objections that they have or concerns they have before asking them for the sale again. And then if you just do that enough times, then in many cases you can close them. And hopefully you can kind of see that taking them through this process is a much better experience for them, because they know that, hey, this is actually something that I want to do. And this is something that's valuable to me, what I'm looking to get out of music and guitar lessons. And so this is how you can charge a lot more money for them. If you want to go deeper in learning how to make six figures teaching guitar lessons or other music lessons, I've made a free training that you can get access to by clicking the link in the description. Also, if you'd like to chat with somebody that's been through this process before, aka me, and you want to figure out how to map this entire system to your individual situation, then clicking that link below will also show you how to get in contact with me, and we can have a free chat, and I can help you out. So with that being said, that was how to make six figures teaching guitar lessons or other lessons.